Welcome to Wicked Lies, a podcast of how truth was destroyed by lies. Caution: podcast contains real people who were destroyed by wicked lies. For mature audiences only.
So I'm Dawn Wolfson with Advocates for the Falsely Accused, and today I am interviewing Bobbie Clifton, who has quite the horrific story to tell about harassment and false accusations that have made against her elderly brother. Welcome, Bobbie. Can you tell us a little bit about the story?
Yes, sure. My brother lives in a rural area in southwest Houston, 17 miles off the beaten path, as it were. Um, he's been there 34 years. Um, about 10 years ago, um, the the two people that made the false accusations, I'll get to, inherited the property directly across from him. They have dogs that run loose all the time, and a lot of drinking, a lot of parties. Just not the kind of people you want in your neighborhood. But their dogs began attacking my brother and his wife and his kids when they would just be out in the yard or checking the mail. And several of the dogs were actually killed by the three dogs that run loose that
So
belong to the
your
neighbor.
brother's dogs were killed.
Yes. People dump a lot of dogs where he lives. They take them to the vet, spay, neuter, and kind of keep them. So they've had this little Chihuahua family, and the matriarch was 21. And she was viciously attacked and destroyed. And that's the only video we have. The dogs, came onto the property and killed her. But 10 years ago, they ran over one of my brother's dogs on his road. And
On purpose, right?
oh, yes. And the dog was gruesomely injured, but this person called the police and said, my neighbor just tried to kill me. And they came, my brother was arrested. It was proven to be without merit, totally dismissed, $10,000 later. Fast forward to March 2025, after 9 dogs have been killed. The 9th dog was attacked, and that was the elderly Chihuahua. She was fatally mauled. My brother raced her to the vet, but her spine was exposed. So a few days later, my brother was swatted out of bed early in the morning and arrested, charged with felony deadly conduct, felony child endangerment, and misdemeanor deadly conduct.
Well, how did that come from the dogs being killed, though? How
Well,
did they turn that around on him?
local police would not assist. They would not come out and warn the owners, or every time one of the dogs was killed, the police said, stop calling. It's a rural area. There's no leash law, but there is a dangerous dog law. So my brother and another of the dogs were out a few days before Al was arrested. And the dogs came onto his property, attacked. The little dog had a fluffy jacket on, and that's what saved him from the bite from these dogs. So Alan fired the gun, a warning shot into the ground. The police told him, shoot to kill any dog that comes onto your property. So he did. He fired a warning shot, scared them away. He went back in. A few days later, he was arrested. Thankfully, we were able to get him out that day. But since then, we were told the charges would be dismissed because there was basically no evidence. I hired an attorney who is inept and didn't collect any of the paperwork that I had documenting all the dates and times for the attacks and for the 9 dogs killed.
Mm-hmm.
And but he was assuring us that they had little to no evidence and it would be dismissed. And this went on month after month after month. In that time, there have been numerous attacks on my brother and his wife in their yard, just going to the mail. And it has not stopped. And so it became evident that the attorney wasn't really fighting for the dismissal. He kept getting resets in the court.
Mm-hmm.
So my brother has been to court 8 or 9 times already, and the lawyer has missed several of those court dates. So they got a protective order against my brother and his wife. Local government refused to give my brother and his wife a protective order. But the very next day, one was issued to these neighbors.
And didn't you say that the neighbors were related to your brother's wife and that their mother had some kind of ties to the police department?
Yes, Dawn, yes. These 2 brothers who filed these reports are technically my sister-in-law's nephews.
Mm-hmm.
As children, my brother fed and clothed these little guys because, they didn't have any role model dad or anything. So yes, they are her nephews, but the third time they broke into someone's home, they were charged with their 3rd felony burglary. Somehow they avoided jail time, and there's some rumor that they are perhaps confidential informants because nothing was done to them as a result of the 3 felony burglaries.
Yeah, that seems
Yeah,
that seems an awful lot more serious than firing a gun into the ground on your own property
exactly.
in self-defense.
Yeah, yeah. Their mother is a police officer
Okay.
at the local department.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, right. So strangely, her name appears on all of the court papers, even the original police report. She doesn't live there. She only comes to party on the weekends.
Uh-huh.
Her name is there. In fact, my sister-in-law was assaulted on her property by one of the brothers a month and a
I
half
remember
ago.
you telling me that, and didn't they turn it back around on her?
Yes, he threw a rock and approached her with his camera and put it on her face, and he tapped her sunglasses. So she, swatted his phone away, and it landed on the ground. He called the police and said she assaulted him. So they issued her misdemeanor family assault
On her
and
own property.
in her driveway. I have a picture, yes,
Mhm.
of him. And she received a court date.
So
So,
they both are looking at trial for this nonsense at
well,
this
her
point.
in the last month, hers was dismissed,
Okay.
but they both had to appear about 6 weeks ago to sign the protective order.
Hmm. And that was
And
against them.
yes, yes. And so my brother was signing the paper, and an officer came and arrested his wife. And we don't know how that's legal. It wasn't, but he did. They arrested her. She's almost 70 years old. They put her in jail. They would not let her out that night. Would not let her
Arrested
out.
her for what?
I guess they said they arrested her for the assault on one of these brothers. Since then, the misdemeanor prosecutor talked with Al's attorney and said he got it dismissed. He said there is no evidence. We believe her. Okay, great. Protective order still stands.
Right.
Monday, when the attorney called me and mentioned getting a plea deal for Al, the terms of that are, if he pleads to misdemeanor deadly conduct on September 2nd, they'll dismiss the felonies. If he doesn't, felony trial begins September 21st. And the misdemeanor prosecutor also said he would bring back the charges against Laurie, his wife.
So
Is
they're
that legal?
basically,
It's a vendetta. Is that even legal?
unfortunately, it probably is. So, assuming your brother doesn't sign the plea deal, they're threatening to bring back the charges against his wife. They're threatening felony charges against him. So,
Yes.
what evidence does he have that would show that he's innocent?
Well,
Or would at least show a pattern of abuse or something?
oh, definitely. We have records, from the dogs who were killed and some of the vet bills. We have one video that shows the gruesome attack on one of the dogs. And we're trying to get a report from the police for the attack on the dog that they caught on security camera.
Mhm.
The train of thought. Sorry, Dawn.
No problem.
That video is on my brother's phone, and it's 6 minutes long, and my brother won't send me the whole thing. He said, no, you don't want to see that. That we have the complaints, the call logs from the police. Basically, we have more evidence showing that the accusations are false from the neighbors. And it
Uh-huh.
was a week and a half ago, Al's attorney told me he finally was able to see discovery. 16 months later, we've been trying to get They said they had a video showing my brother aiming a gun, shooting a gun, and saying, "I will kill you." Well, there is no video because that didn't happen. But each time the attorney would finally ask for discovery, 4 different times, every disc he got was blank. 4 times.
So there's no evidence other than these people's word at this point.
Yeah,
And
correct.
didn't you say that one of them had mentioned that the reason they were doing this was that they thought that someone over there had called CPS on them or something?
Yes. Yes.
So it sounds like they think they did something, and so they're getting back at them.
Yes. Exactly. And after, let's see, in April of 2025, a month after I was arrested, in the local newspaper, it's called Busted. I think those are kind of in every city.
Mm-hmm.
It shows people's mugshots. They published that in the local paper, and it said, well, I can't repeat everything that it said, but basically, they said this man slandered our 5-star RV business, so we put him in jail. So there's the other part of an admission. So we were waiting for the dismissal, and the attorney didn't have anything put together. I provided all of the information, the photos of the injuries and the dogs and their little graves, and a list of every single dog, when it was attacked, when it was killed,
Mm-hmm.
pictures from Facebook where the felons were posting their guns.
Mm-hmm.
And I sent all of that to the attorney.
Uh-huh.
Suddenly he said, well, this is for the grand jury. I said, grand jury? You said they were dismissing. Sure enough, he put together a packet to turn in, and they did indict my brother. But then he assured us, no, still, this will be dismissed. Well, it wasn't, clearly. So again, I did the homework on all of this information.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess more or less this was just an accusation, a false accusation. There was no crime. But the attorney has basically told us, you're on your own. And if he doesn't sign and you go to trial, y'all are on your own. That's his way of kind of just withdrawing, because he wanted to and the judge wouldn't let him, basically.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, a week and a half ago, he said he finally was shown the videos that these
Uh-huh.
people claim they have of my brother harassing them,
Mm-hmm.
and of him holding the gun.
Uh-huh.
He said, there's nothing. There are 7 or 8 grainy, blurry videos from the neighbors' cell phones that show my brother's driveway, a couple of dogs walking around. There's nothing. So I was surprised when Monday the attorney said, we need to think about a plea deal. We were told it may be a minor weapons discharge. Okay, that's the only thing that happened. There was a warning shot fired. That's it.
Yeah.
Suddenly, he threatened us and said, sign it or you're going to trial alone.
So he's not going to represent your brother if it
No,
goes to trial. Not
no.
okay.
Um, I'm pursuing a grievance with this attorney for many instances of unethical behavior. He threatened us. He discussed my brother's case with an outside party who
Oh,
called me and said, why is he calling me? Anyway, so I'm getting all that together to send to Austin, Texas, the Texas bar. Our concern is getting some attention on this vendetta that
okay.
has destroyed my brother's life.
And your
Um,
brother, you said he's elderly and he's also not well.
he's not well, no. Um, and he's basically been locked in his home for a year and a half. The neighbors just this past week called every day and reported that they were being harassed. No, they weren't. Yeah, these people are going on 70. They're in poor health. It's 101 in Texas.
And
They don't even
humid,
go outside,
right?
Oh, and they said recently, last Monday morning to be exact, they reported that my brother's wife had a gun with her when she went to check her mail. It's a back brace.
Oh, wow.
The attorney, Al's attorney, told me 5 times, no, it was a gun. I said,
Well, how
why
would
are
he
you
know?
right? I said, no, it's a back brace. But why are you defending them?
Right? Doesn't that sound really shady?
Really shady. I mean, the dogs these neighbors have are loose all the time. And if someone comes over, they quick gather them and put them in the screened-in porch.
Mm-hmm.
So still, they're on my brother's property every single day, Dawn.
Are they
They
big
came
dogs?
2 German Shepherds and a pit bull.
Eh, versus a bunch of Chihuahuas mostly.
What right? Um, yeah, they're not gentle dogs. In the police report for the day this all happened, one officer did state that when he arrived on scene, the dogs approached him in an aggressive manner, and he pulled out his taser, told the owner to secure the dogs. Lo and behold, the second German Shepherd came out. The officer again said, secure your dog. And over the years, the local PD stopped answering calls for help. Like I said, you know, when they were attacked, when the dogs were attacked, the police department actually told them to stop calling. So they tried to report dangerous dogs. Nobody would take the report. Nobody.
So is there an animal control there or something?
There is no animal control, but uh, one of the further away towns does have some kind of, I don't know what you would call it, not a rescue, but they kind of try to handle cases from the area where my brother lives.
Mhm.
But of course, there's no leash law. They live 17 miles off the beaten trail anyway.
Sure, but it
But
still ought to be illegal to have vicious dogs coming onto somebody else's property.
I included in the grand jury packet, I listed Texas law and statutes related to dangerous dogs.
Mm-hmm.
And that's partly defined by injury or death of a domestic animal or livestock.
Mm-hmm.
Dogs, as you know, are considered your property, livestock, as it were.
Yeah.
After the first attack, usually the dogs are seized. After numerous attacks, not only were they not seized, police never filed a report, never warned the owners, never cited the owners, never enforced securing the dogs. Another neighbor told police that, yes, the dogs do roam the neighborhood and they are aggressive. So that's in the original police report too. We have not seen the full police report. The site out of this county, it's called, I think it's the Pacer system,
Uh-huh.
where you can get official documents. Their website is up, but it hasn't worked in years. I didn't know that. I kept sending the same information in.
Mm.
My brother kept sending his case number in, and nothing happened. So that's not up and running. So I thought for sure the attorney would tell us
Yes.
the high points.
The
He
attorney
didn't.
should have let you sit down and read it and watch those
Yeah,
videos.
yes, right. It is 18 pages long. The only part that I've seen, I don't know if I sent that to you, Dawn.
No, I don't
The
think
only part,
so.
it was the one thing that the attorney uh, provided for the grand jury packet.
Uh-huh.
And it clearly states that there was no evidence of a gun being fired. There were no shell casings, because the neighbors claimed that, he shot at them.
Mm-hmm.
They further coerced a little boy, one of their sons,
Mm-hmm.
to say that he was sitting in a car near where my brother fired the gun. I asked the attorney to facilitate getting his deposition. Being a juvenile does not exclude him from giving a statement.
Right.
We understand it has to be handled very carefully,
Yeah.
preferably in the presence of a psychiatrist.
And no parents.
Absolutely, absolutely. So they chose to involve one of their children as basically the key witness for their
Mm-hmm.
accusations. My brother's wife was outside the whole time. Nobody else was outside. The attorney didn't even take her statement. Nothing.
So was the child not even there?
The child was inside the home,
Mm-hmm.
but there was nobody outside when they claim my brother shot at them. Yeah, nobody was out,
Was it just the dogs?
just the dogs. Right as the dogs came onto my brother's property and basically chomped down on his little chihuahua.
Mm-hmm.
At that point, Al was carrying a small caliber handgun
Mm-hmm.
on the dogs. So he shot into the ground, and the dogs ran off, and he collected his little guy and went into the house.
So you would
So
have thought no harm, no foul. He defused the
absolutely,
situation, and instead it's
absolutely.
turned into he may be doing jail time for something he never did.
I am fighting in every way I can to make sure that doesn't happen. The attorney asked for his medical records,
Mm-hmm.
said, if I show these to the prosecutor and he agrees to move away, maybe we can get that dismissal.
Mm-hmm.
Well, at first we were going to do that. And then my brother said, I think that's a violation that I'm not willing to allow. You know, he's on
Mm-hmm.
disability, um, which that's easily proven. But I agree. And we've decided not to turn over his medical records. They don't need that information. And we don't know if they'll share that information with everyone like they have with every other piece of information. No, no, that's the only thing we are not willing to do now. We were at first, but no. So they're trying to run him out.
Mm-hmm.
He wants to leave anyway. He wants to come and stay with me. And hopefully we can enjoy our golden years for, however long we have. So we don't agree with the medical records, but I'm trying to um, I'm trying to find an attorney who may be willing to help us. At this point, I need some um, documentation presented. I
Mm-hmm.
don't expect anyone to uh, represent Al at trial. I don't think the plea deal will be signed because originally it was a minor weapons discharge. At the last minute, the attorney told me most likely it would be the misdemeanor deadly conduct. My brother said, absolutely not. No. So that's where we stand.
Okay. So at this
And
point, we're looking at a bad choice or a worse choice,
right.
and you had a terrible attorney
Yeah.
and you don't have one going into this ordeal, and your brother
Nope.
wants to move away. What about your sister-in-law?
Well, sadly, I think that she will remain. Um, and that's okay. I think they're 44 years, maybe. No, that might be it because my brother wanted to sell. He still wants to sell the property.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you know, he they've never had a mortgage. He paid the house, he paid it off when they bought it
Mm-hmm.
34 years ago. But he wants the property sold. Both
Mm-hmm.
of them are on the deed and she refuses. And even after they had her arrested.
Yeah, so she
So,
doesn't want to be run off her own property, but there's no
well, no,
guarantee that they're gonna stop harassing her if she stays.
exactly. And she is fiery and independent, but also obstinate.
Mm-hmm.
She knows she's in danger. These people lie for a living, and it's just a matter of time until something else is another accusation is made. because now the children are starting to make things up. Yeah.
Wonderful. Yeah.
That's a whole other, right. So, we'll see. I know her family is from that area. I mean, it's a huge family.
Mm-hmm.
And the parents left many acres of land and a clause in their will that said any and all of the kids are welcome to come and claim a couple acres and either build a home or put a mobile or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
She doesn't want to do that. She wants to stay where she is, even though the kids are begging her to sell. But that's a story for another time.
I guess it
But
is.
I want him here. He wants to be here. He would like to get his ministry back up.
Mhm.
He's been sidelined.
So he's a minister too.
Yes, Al is an ordained minister. And he doesn't minister from a church. That's not his style. He was a long haul trucker for years, and he had his CB church, as it were, and he chooses to be in the community where people who are marginalized don't have access to social services, anything related to the church. So that's kind of his chosen path. And
If he wasn't being constantly harassed, he'd actually be out there helping people.
absolutely. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Right. Well,
yes.
so I want to thank you for telling your story, and really appreciate you having you on, and we will definitely
Thank
get
you,
this
Dawn.
out as fast as we can, and we'll let you know when it's up. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dawn. Thank you for your time.
Thanks for
Take
telling
care.
me the story.
Thank you for listening to Wicked Lies. If you would like to learn more about advocates for the falsely accused, join us at www.theaffa.org. That's www.theaffa.org.